Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're on the way to 11,400 subscribers, and if you could click the like button, I would be incredibly grateful. There's loads to talk about tonight. I want to say nice and early, not straight after this, but after this, we will be live on TIFO for the England watch-along. I am incredibly nervous. There's loads of Arsenal stuff to talk about, and incredibly, we are kicking things off with a 1999 super chat from Grant Tolbert, a pre-stream super chat, which is unheard of and greatly, greatly appreciated. So, Grant, thank you very, very much. He says, upgrade the squad. In Lunin, out Ramsdale. I wouldn't say that's an upgrade. I'd say it's a sideways move. If anything, it's a slight downgrade, I actually genuinely think. But if we're losing Ramsdale, then fair enough. In Calafiori, out Kivior. I agree. I think that probably is an upgrade. In Bruno G, out Thomas Partey. Slightly different profile, but I think that probably is an upgrade purely based on Bruno G's reliability. In Marino, out Lokonga. Definitely an upgrade. We're going to speak about Marino a little bit. I thought he had an impressive cameo once again last night. In Jonathan David, out Gabriel Jesus. That's an interesting one. Do you know what? I've just never bought the Jonathan David hype. And I think, I don't get it. He's always touted as this player. And I've never seen it personally. So I don't know about that one. Gyökeres in and Nketiah out. I mean, yes, please. Neto in, Reiss out. Huge upgrade. And Nwaneri in, Smith Rowe out. Interesting. And then finally, Edu out, Grant in. Well, do you know what, Grant? If you could pull all of that off, Grant. If you could pull all of that off, welcome. Anyway, there's loads of you here. Oslo Guna, Woodsy, Sam, Pekka, Jack Sachs, Hyper, Vlad, El Minister, Anu Brata, Leo, Hyder, Leeds Gunner, Pekka. Might have already said Pekka. James, Ross Lawman, Hannah, Carter, Devin, Loopy, MC Gaming, and many, many more. It is good to see you. Please have a minute countdown before starting the stream. We get ads and miss out on the intros. I didn't know that. Maybe I should do that. Have like a little, like a countdown. I could just do that at the start of every stream if you want. I can just sit here and I don't mind doing that. I can do that, no problem. Anyway, let's get into the Arsenal news today. Today, starting with one thing that is pretty much guaranteed to have happened, all things going to plan, and that is coming from Fabrizio Romano. Arsenal have accepted Lazio's offer to sign Nuno Tavares on an initial, that's actually a tongue twist, on an initial loan with an obligation to buy for around 7 to 8 million euros. Arsenal will also have a sell-on clause in the deal. So basically, we're selling Nuno Tavares next year after a loan move to Lazio this year, but that it will be an obligation, so they will have to do it. 7 to 8 million euros. I mean, we bought him for 8 million euros, right? So that's basically no loss on Tavares. Then also include the fact that we got loan fees for him when he went out on loan, and we will have a sell-on clause in the deal if he ever gets sold on. So, it's one of them, right? We bought him in. It was a bit of a, it was a bit of a nothing. Not a nothing. It was a no-risk move, right? For 8 million euros. It didn't work out. He's had a couple of loan moves. They've not gone particularly well either. And we've still managed to wipe our face with it. We've still managed to break even on it. So, it's a small deal. It's a little bit of money, but, we never got a loan fee. Yeah, we did get a loan fee. I can't remember how much it was, but 1,000,000% we got a loan fee. At the very least, we got a loan fee from Nottingham Forest. I'm certain of it. I remember making a video about it. Yeah, we did. So when he went on loan to Marseille, actually, we didn't get a loan fee. But when he went on loan to Nottingham Forest, we got a loan fee of 1 million. We got a loan fee of 1 million when he went to Forest. Has any Italian team ever paid straight up cash to an English team in any transfer ever? I'm not actually sure. Perhaps not. I'm not sure. Probably not. I mean, the Italian clubs are stingy. They are stingy. Next up, this came from Ryan Taylor. He said, Marseille are showing interest in Eddie Nketiah. The club's president, Pablo Longoria, is driving Marseille's interest after previously considering an approach for Nketiah back in summer 2022. Now, this Marseille Nketiah thing is interesting, right? Because yesterday it came out that Marseille had pretty much agreed a deal with Man United for Mason Greenwood. But that then took a weird turn later in the evening, because after that news broke, the mayor of Marseille, as in the city of Marseille, the mayor of Marseille, basically came out and was like, no. He was like, this is disgraceful. I've seen what Mason Greenwood did. I will be contacting the president of Olympique de Marseille and urging him not to make this signing. It then comes out today that Greenwood is now apparently closer to a move to Lazio, and Marseille all of a sudden are interested in Eddie Nketiah. So, I mean, that would be ideal, if we can sell Eddie Nketiah, he goes abroad, so he can't, it can't ever come back to bite us in terms of him scoring lots of goals for a Premier League club. They've shown that they've got some money in terms of what they were willing to do with the Mason Greenwood deal. So yeah, that would be a decent one. Potentially another place he could go to, and this is according to Ben Jacobs, Leicester City will be active this summer. They still want to bring in another striker, and I would not rule out Eddie Nketiah at this stage. I'm told Armando Broja is off the table there. So Leicester, another club that could be looking at Eddie Nketiah. So we'll see what happens with him. But, it's good to see a bit of interest beginning to build for Nketiah, because he's one of the players that we actually need to make a decent amount of money on. Any updates on the mystery German player joining Arsenal? No, we've not had any updates on the mystery German, which is surprising given that Germany have now been out of the tournament for a few days. In fact, when did they go out? Nearly a week ago now. So, yeah, it's actually surprising that we've not heard any more about that. Maybe it comes out that it was all absolute nonsense anyway, but we'll see. Bidding war for Eddie, please. Yeah, that would be decent. Any news on Nelson? Yeah, so yesterday, ex-West Ham employee said that West Ham were interested in Reiss Nelson, and I think Team News and Ticks somewhere today confirmed that. So West Ham is seeming like a very strong possibility for Reiss Nelson, which would be decent. Have you seen the FPL prices are being released tomorrow? Will you have a league? Yes, that we will have an FPL league. We will have an FPL league going into next year, 100%. Any updates on cauliflower? I prefer broccoli, personally. I do prefer broccoli. It's Musiala. It's just not going to be Musiala, is it? It's not going to be Musiala. Any news on Chido Obi Martin? Wasn't the Scholar deadline the 8th? There is news on Chido Obi Martin. There is news, actually. This came from Academy Scoop. Now, Academy Scoop has been pretty bang on with all of our Academy products in terms of Mario Kozu-Yadubri choosing to leave. I can't remember the other one that he was correct with, but it does seem that Academy Scoop is in the know. There is increasing internal confidence at Arsenal that they will fend off advanced interest from Bayern Munich for Chido Obi Martin. And accuse the player and secure the player's long-term future after face-to-face talks with Mikel Arteta. A decision and announcement is expected soon. So with Chido, right, a lot of people were talking about this deadline of the 8th of July. That is the deadline for English teams signing players to scholarship deals, right? Now, as it stands, Chido is signed to Arsenal, okay? If he was going to leave Arsenal to another academy, if it was an English academy, that deadline was the 8th of July. So that has gone. So he's not going anywhere else in England. However, he could still go to Bayern Munich because they don't have such a deadline. So yeah, Bayern Munich could still be in the game, but apparently Arsenal are feeling increasingly confident that we will keep hold of him. So that's that one. Do you think Sky Sports were trolling, saying we bid 50k for that keeper? Ornstein said it was 500k on his podcast. Think they wanted Arsenal fan base to lose their minds. No, I think it was 50k. So basically, apparently, Arsenal bid £50,000 for Dan Bentley. So, we said that they want $1 million. We spoke about this yesterday, that Wolves want $1 million and that Arsenal were lowballing them. According to Sky, we went in at 50k. I think Simon Collins then confirmed. Let me just actually check it. But I'm pretty sure I saw Simon Collins confirm that Arsenal did bid 50k. Yeah, he did. So this was in the Standard. So that's Sky Sports and the Standard both saying Arsenal have had a bid rejected for Wolves keeper Dan Bentley. Told the offer was 50,000, which is way off Wolves' valuation. Goalkeeper has 1 year left on his contract. Now, it sounds horrific, right? I mean, 50k. I mean, Jesus Christ. We could get a bloody. I mean, 50k is mental, right? You could get, if you were going out and getting a new car for 50k, you could finance that for about 500 quid a week, 500 quid a month, even. I mean, literally, you could get a bloody Klarna loan and bring him in for 50k. I mean, absolutely. Cedric Suarez was getting paid 50k every 4 days, right? So 50k is insane. However, Wolves only bought him for like 75k. Wolves bought him for like 75k, and now he's got 1 year left on his contract. So you could argue that 50k is actually not even that bad. But no, 50k is a shambles, especially if they want 1 million. That's like, it's not the same, but in terms of proportions, we've effectively offered 5% of what they want. That would have been like us going to West Ham, who wanted 100 million for Declan Rice, and saying here's 5 mil. That's insane. Shamefully low on likes. Come on, guys. I'm not saying it. I've not said that, but you are full of shame. You are full of shame for not clicking that like button. No, if you could click the like button, get me to 100 likes, that would be greatly appreciated. It genuinely does help. Do you know what? Actually, genuinely, the videos have been flying the last few days again, and I put it down to those of you that have been clicking the like button. So there is genuine value in doing it. Finally, we're lowballing other clubs. I mean, there's lowballing, and then there is taking the piss, but no, 50k is 50k. Do you even know the preseason online viewing tickets drop? Will it be free to watch on the Arsenal website since nothing has dropped? No, I think it will just come later to the time, closer to the time. You won't need to buy a ticket. It will just be you go on the website and you buy the subscription, basically. It's crazy how many people got debated with your Yamal Saka backup tweet. It's insane. Genuinely, Twitter is a cesspit of brain rotten degenerates, and it's remarkable. It does make you fear for the future of humanity. It does make you fear for the future. But that being said, I saw someone on TikTok, right, take the tweet, deliberately crop out the reply where I clearly said it was a joke, so that he could then make a TikTok about it, pretending that he thought I was being serious. I mean, it is insane. Do you rate Adeyemi? Not highly enough for Arsenal. Not highly enough. I rate him, but not highly enough for Arsenal, personally. What do you think our keeper situation will be because of the Euros? Well, that is interesting, right? As it stands, Carl Hayne is the only goalkeeper that can go on pre-season. Raya and Ramsdale are both still at the Euros. They're probably going to miss almost all of pre-season, right? It's expected that the players that reach the final of Copa America or the Euros won't make it back until a week before the start of the season if they take their full holiday. Now, maybe Ramsdale and Raya don't take their full holiday because they're keepers and they've not really, in terms of like needing to rest, they've not really even played at the Euros. But that leaves us with Carl Hayne as the only one, unless we bring in Dan Bentley. So that's an interesting one. Have to wait and see, I suppose. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad thing for Hayne to get some minutes in pre-season anyway. It really wouldn't be a bad thing, actually, for him to get some minutes before going out on loan. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Ornstein was speaking a lot today on the Athletic podcast, and he said a few interesting things. And to be honest, it's a bit. On Calafiori, Ornstein said, this is a target for Mikel Arteta. This is a player he would like to sign. He may have to convince some within Arsenal of this to get everybody on board, because I think there are some concerns around Arsenal as to whether Arsenal need a player in that position. Clearly, Calafiori is extremely enthusiastic about the possibility of joining Arsenal. I was told some time ago that he is completely on board if the clubs can agree a deal. Bologna are asking for around 50 million euros, which many in the game feel is significantly above his market value, which is interesting. So Arteta is trying to convince people at the club that we need Calafiori. according to Ornstein, lots of people in the industry actually think 50 million euros is too much for him. I'd question that. I'd question that because 50 million euros, that's like 42 million quid. I mean, I've just seen Max Kilman go for 40 million quid. So 50 million euros, yeah, like Ultra Pro Gamer said it, that's less than we paid for Ben White. So I don't think it would be too bad. But you know, Ornstein is a very good source. So I don't know. I don't know who would have told him that that's overpriced for Calafiori. I can't think why it would be overpriced other than his potential injury concerns. Like, that is the only reason it could potentially be considered overpriced. Are we going to sign Victor Gyökeres? Time will tell. Well, interestingly, right? So Ornstein on the striker situation, he said there was a lot of talk early on about a potential striker. Since the Sesko transfer has not happened, I don't have any concrete information to suggest that Arsenal are going for an alternative striker with absolute certainty. Sesko was seen by Arsenal and other clubs as a market opportunity, that you go for him specifically because of what he represents, and then if you don't get him, maybe it's back to the drawing board. So Ornstein basically saying, we went for Sesko as a market opportunity, but outside of that, he's not really hearing anything about a potential striker. Vegas Gunner, thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. That is incredibly generous of you. Do you think it would be possible for Alex Crook to have made up the rumor about Nketiah's price tag being 50 million to create drama? He is a United fan. Maybe. It'd be a weird one to make up. But I mean, to be fair, he is the only person that has come out with that 50 million price tag. So, and by the way, if his price tag was 50 million, we wouldn't be speaking to Marseille, right? Marseille won't be signing him for 50 million. I don't think it is anywhere near 50 million. And look, I'm not saying Alex Crook made it up, but you know, maybe he exaggerated it, or I'm not sure. But he's not going to go for 50 million, realistically. The final thing that Ornstein did say, and this is slightly more positive from Ornstein, he said Arsenal are always going to be active in the market. Some feel it's been a bit of a slow start for them, but I don't think so. They'll have their targets in place. There's been Euro 2024 and Copa America. Maybe that creates a bit of impatience. He said, if anything, we've seen from Edu and the Kroenke ownership in recent years, it's that they're able to do really well in the market. They make their moves, they're pretty decisive, and they tend to be successful, and they're ready to invest. This is a market that I am sure Arsenal will tackle in a strong way as it goes on. So that's more positive from Ornstein. And look, I do think we just have to be a bit patient. I do think we need to be a bit patient with it. Genuinely think Arsenal are trying to get the price down for Osimhen. He is the only obvious target at the moment. I said this before. I think the way that we'll go, I think Calafiori, I do think will get done, right? It's taking a little bit of time. I think Calafiori gets done. I think we go for a midfielder. We have to. I think we go for a winger. And then towards the end of the window, I think we if the opportunity is there, we get the striker. But we're waiting it out. Yeah, there were a couple of ones. Yusuf Fofana. So of those sorts, you know, of the midfield targets that we've spoken about, Yusuf Fofana has agreed personal terms with AC Milan. So Yusuf Fofana was never like a big number one target for me, but he would have always been a decent secondary midfielder for us to bring in. So if we brought in a top level one and also a Fofana, I would have been happy with that. But it seems like he's going to AC Milan. João Neves, PSG apparently have offered 90 million euros and a player for João Neves. So, yeah, I don't think we're getting anywhere near that if PSG are in for him and they're throwing that sort of money around. So there's a couple of those midfield targets potentially moving on. Emmanuel, thank you very, very much for the £2 super chat. That is incredibly generous. Fab gave the here we go on Carly med already booked. I don't think he did. I think that... Are you trolling? Fabrizio hasn't given a here we go on Calafiori. No, he definitely hasn't. Unless... Who's Carly? I assume you mean Calafiori, but I don't think he has, Emmanuel. I don't think he has. That was a fake Fabrizio. Yeah, you've got done. Oh, you got trolled. You got trolled, Emmanuel. It was a fake Fabrizio. It was Fabrizio Romano. You got baited by Fabrizio Romano. That was a fake. That was a fake. There is no here we go yet. There is no here we go yet. But thank you for the £2 super chat either way. Thank you very much for that one. Incredibly grateful for that. A couple of other things. Marker saying this afternoon that Arsenal are interested in Mikel Merino, whose future at Real Sociedad seems more complicated with each passing day due to the non-renewal of his 1 year remaining contract, which will make him sold before he leaves for free. So Mourinho's got 1 year left. He is not, as it stands, renewing that contract at Real Sociedad. One issue is that apparently he wants to stay in Spain, as a lot of these Spaniards seem to do. I'll tell you what. I liked that. I liked that little cameo yesterday. That cameo he made yesterday. Look, incredibly good in the air. I think his range of passing is really nice. Some people have highlighted, right, his passing accuracy is not very strong. It's like 77% or something like that. Which for me, when I'm looking at the midfielders, 77% is not ideal for a midfielder that would come for us. But one big difference is, from what I can tell, he makes a lot of, or he attempts a lot of progressive line-breaking balls, right? And so if we are talking about someone to come alongside Declan Rice that offers more of what a Thomas Partey offers, then that could work. That could work in that sense. So, yeah, look, I still don't think he's the number one, but I could see it. I mean, he's incredibly dominant in the air. Incredibly dominant in the air. Composed on the ball. I'd be interested. People are all saying that the lineups are out. Let's have a gander. Netherlands versus England. The lineups apparently are out, but FOTMob apparently is struggling. Hello, FOTMob. Well, we will return to that at some point because FOTMob is having some sort of a seizure. Do you think it's weird that England don't have Saka or Rice taking corners and Saka is a covering player on the edge of the box? I suppose it's a bit weird. Given that both of them are clearly very good. Yeah, possibly. Here we go, sports fans. So the lineups are in. England, Pickford, Walker, Stones, Guehi, Saka right wing back, Trippier left wing back, Rice, Mainu, Foden, Bellingham, and Kane. It's the exact same team again. Except Guehi is coming for Konza now that Guehi's no longer suspended. Okay. The Dutch team, Verbruggen in goal, Dumfries, De Vrij, Van Dijk, Ake, Schouten, Reinders, Marlon, Simons, Gakpo, and Memphis Depay. I mean, look, that, by the way, Marlon, Gakpo, Simons, that's decent. That is decent. The issue for me, right, the most annoying thing for me is that this is where the Netherlands are vulnerable. Defensively, the Netherlands are vulnerable down their right-hand side. Denzel Dumfries is a weak link. Marlon doesn't do much defensively. Schouten, he's all right. But this is the weak side. But it's the side that we do nothing with. All tournament, we have done nothing down the left-hand side. And so the problem is, like Saka is up against Ake and Van Dijk. They are unfortunately very good defenders. Like Saka is going to have a very tough game. But there you go. That's the team. We'll be live on Tifo. Link is down in the description to Tifo. We will be live for the watch along later on. And I am incredibly nervous. My prediction, by the way, is 1-1, extra time, penalties. England win on penalties. That's my prediction. What do you think about Olmo as the mystery German? I know he isn't German. His contract expires the 15th of July. Well, that's an interesting one, actually. That is an interesting one. So Dani Olmo obviously plays in the Bundesliga. So he does play in Germany, not German, but he is still at the Euros, which would maybe suggest why nothing has been done. His release clause, I think, is 50 million euros. I believe he's got a release clause of 50 million euros, and there were rumours today that there is a Premier League club that is going to trigger that release clause because it expires on Monday. The release clause expires next Monday, Monday the 15th. And there were rumours today that release clause is going to get triggered before it expires. So maybe, I'm not sure. 60 million euros. Sorry, 60 million euros, like 50 million quid. Yeah. Sorry. My bad. Other bit of news today. I mean, this came from Footy Insider, so take it with a pinch of salt. But Celtic are unlikely to be able to bring Kieran Tierney back to the club this summer. Sources say a reunion would be a dream for both Kieran Tierney and Celtic, but it is believed that there are major question marks over Celtic's financial ability to strike the deal. So yeah, I've seen quite a few people talk about Kieran Tierney and that we should sell him back to Celtic. I don't think they can afford it. I don't think they can afford it, or they can't afford whatever it is that Arsenal want to sell him for. I would imagine Arsenal have probably overvalued Kieran Tierney. I think it's going to be very difficult to sell him because of his injury record. But we spent what, 25 million on him, so I think we will struggle to sell him on. What's the ideal transfer market after all the rumours and not being able to get Douglas Luiz? I'd be very happy with Calafiori. In terms of the wingers, look, Nico Williams I would like. His salary is an issue. Neto I'd be happy with. Bakayoko I'd be happy with. Desiree Doué I think is a bit of a... I think there's a lot of talent there, but he's not quite ready. Midfielders, Bruno G is still an option. Kimmich is still an option. Frankie de Jong's still an option. You know, there are some midfielders out there. And then a striker. And I still want Gyökeres. 20 mil would be great. Yeah, but I think you're looking at half that. I think you're looking at half of that. He's just had too many injuries. Went out on loan to Sociedad. He was injured whilst he was out there. Got injured during the Euros. Less than a third of the like. Please, can you click the like button? If we're on less than a third of, if we're on 30 likes with 264 of you in here, that is an absolute abomination. 30 likes from 264 of you. That's shock. That's an appalling ratio. Please get me to 100 likes. Thank you very much. Dani Olmo has a bad injury record. Muscular injuries. 60 million for him is not good business. He's bound to break down in the PL, considering his body can't even take Bundesliga. Fair enough. We're on 80. Oh, we're on 80. Well, Fizzy. What's your maths doing here? A third? We're on 80. Come on. Up it. 100. That's as bad as offering 50k for Bentley. Have you seen much of Marino play? Not outside of the Euros. The problem was, I was watching Real Sociedad, especially during the Champions League, but at the time we were linked to Zubamendi. So I was watching Zubamendi more than Marino. And I honestly, one thing I would say is that I don't think Marino ever stood out in terms of I was watching their midfield. Oh, look at this. We got another one. Hello, Jovel. Hello. Oh, look at it. He just keeps sending the same message. Hello. Oh, bless him. But no, when I was watching Real Sociedad, the problem was I was watching Zubamendi, but Marino never massively stood out, which I suppose you could say. I suppose you could say that means something, I guess. You'd want him to have... We've got a Spanish version. We've got a Spanish version of the same thing. Look at this. Hijo de mutante. Hijo de mutante. Sensational. Sensational. We've got another one. Look at this. Presumably, someone is sending them over. Bless his cotton socks. Are we seriously going to knighthood Southgate? Well, yeah. Apparently, Gareth Southgate's getting a knighthood. Bukayo Saka should get a knighthood. Bukayo Saka should be the one getting a knighthood. But he who shall not be named, bless him. Yeah, some interesting names with them as well. Actually, some interesting names. Anyway, my country is third place in Copa America. You'll love to see it. Sir Bukayo Saka So imagine that. Imagine every time on commentary they had to refer to him as Sir Bukayo. That would be sensational. That would be sensational. Why does Southgate deserve less than Saka? Neither have won anything. Exactly. Exactly. If Southgate gets one, it will be because of Bukayo Saka. So he should get one as well. Sir Starboy. This might end up being an English or Spanish final. Whoever loses is gay. Interesting. Yeah, we've seen the lineups. We've seen the lineups. Nobody can wear a 90s three-piece suit like Southgate. I bet Saka could pull it off. I bet Saka could pull off a three-piece. I bet he could. Heard people say Mourinho solves all of our problems after Xhaka left. I'll be honest. I think people looked at I think people that have not seen Mourinho before have looked at Mourinho in the Euros, and they've probably seen a left-footed, tall midfielder who's not massively mobile, and they've gone, well, it's Granit Xhaka. Now, don't get me wrong. He absolutely has some of the qualities that Granit Xhaka has. But directly saying that he would be the Granit Xhaka replacement and would solve all our problems, maybe not so much. But no, he'd be a decent signing. He would be a decent signing. And he'd be cheap as well. He's got 1 year left on his deal at Sociedad, so he would genuinely be quite cheap. Donde está la biblioteca? That means, where is the library? Look at me. I know Spanish. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we are starting now. What did Pekka say? Oh, no. Yeah, okay. I got what Pekka said. If you don't watch the Twitch streams, what Pekka said was just mental. But clue number 1, dog's kicking off. The dog's kicking off. Clue number 1, this player scored 2 goals in 64 games for Arsenal. Clue number 1, this player scored 2 goals in 64 games for Arsenal. Clue number 2, they've won 1 Premier League title with Arsenal. Clue number 2, they won 1 Premier League title with Arsenal. Clue number 3, they won the Champions League with Barcelona. Clue number 3, they won the Champions League with Barcelona. Clue number 4, they joined Arsenal from Rangers in 2001. Clue number 4, they joined Arsenal from Rangers in 2001. And clue number 5, they made 106 appearances for the Netherlands. Clue number 5, they made 106 appearances for the Netherlands. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. It is a tricky one. So, 2 goals in 64 games for Arsenal. They won a Premier League title at Arsenal. They won the Champions League with Barca. They joined Arsenal from Rangers in 2001. And they made 106 appearances for the Netherlands. And the winner is... And I'm not getting VAR checked. It's Ross Lawman. It is Ross Lawman back on top of the throne. The OG, the original GOAT of Guess the Gooner, Ross Lawman, back on top. It was indeed Van Bronckhorst. It was Van Bronckhorst, and that is fantastic from Ross Lawman. John P was second, Vivi Vlad was third, Dr. Shikar was fourth, and Ryan Henderson was fifth. So there you go. That was a tough one. Back-to-back Guess the Gooner wins for Ross Lawman as well. There you go. Back-to-back Guess the Gooner wins. Ross must be cheating somehow. I think he's I think he's switched on. I think Ross Lawman is switched on. You've got to give him credit. You've got to give him credit. Anyway, it's time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal. You have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. But not as much respect as Ross currently has. But we've got a $4.99 super chat from Alex VDB. He says, "Hi, Rory. Really enjoy your videos, but rarely get to catch you live. Love from LA. Wow, LA. That is fancy. If you're ever out here, catch a game with us at Joxer Dailies. I will do that. I will. If I'm ever out in LA, I will do that. Joxer Dailies. But thank you very, very much for the $4.99 super chat. That is genuinely greatly appreciated. Anyway, this player started their career at Standard Liège. They started their career at Standard Liège. They went to Everton. They went to Manchester United. And they went to SD Luneng. Standard Liège, Everton, Man United, SD Luneng. Who is the player? Who is the player? Who is the player? Wow. 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 Not only has he done the Guess the Gooner double in back-to-back days, but he's done the bloody dirty double as well. Ross Lawman is on fire. Your defense is terrified. Lawman's on fire. That is the dirty double. Marouane Fellaini was the answer, and he has got it. Sportcat was second. VV Vlad was third. Jakob was fourth. And Theo was fifth. But there you go. Ross Lawman is flying. He is absolutely flying. Since he got a new job, he is unstoppable. He is unstoppable. Sensational. I really want to see a Netherlands versus Spain 2010 final rematch. No, thank you. Nobody wants to see that. We all want to see England versus Spain. We all want England versus Spain. Lawman's on fire. And he's shagging Danny Dyer. Lawman's on fire. No, he's not doing that. That's libelous. He's bananas. Somebody stop him. Fair play to him. Fair play to him. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the stream. I will be live on TIFO in about half an hour's time. I hope to see as many of you over there as possible. It's going to be an intense watch along. I'll be live on Twitch later on. Link to that is down in the description as well. And then, of course, tomorrow we'll be back live with this normal time, 6:30 tomorrow, if you're only interested in the Arsenal stuff. But other than that, I appreciate you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you all tomorrow. Goodbye.